Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, he has basically every accolade to this point: European champion, world champion. He's now an Olympic champion. Ireland's first Olympic gold medalist in swimming since 1996. Today, we're sitting down with Dan Whiffen. Dan, how's it going, man?
Hello. Yeah, it's great.
This episode of the Swim Swam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. So you're back home in Ireland right now. You were chosen to be Ireland's closing ceremony's flag bearer, which was a huge honor. And then you ended up getting sick, and so you weren't able to go to closing ceremonies. Can you just take me through, I guess, your last week? You're at home in Ireland now, and how the Olympics have unwound for you after competition.
Yeah, so we obviously last night we finished the marathon swim in the Sem, which was amazing. It was everything I thought it was going to be, which was kind of cool. So obviously swim in one of the most famous rivers in the world, and then so that was really cool. And it's also my first race, and funny enough, my last is what I said in a lot of interviews. Yeah, it was great. So we finished that, and then I said I wanted to go partying in the Olympics because that's like what everybody wants to do after they finish swimming. But I got like one day of that, and then I got a bit ill. Well, a bit ill. I was like kind of badly ill, but yeah, I was in hospital, whatever. But then I got over it. I was on antibiotics, and it cured me up nicely. And now I'm back home in Ireland. We got back on Monday, so that was like 2 days ago. And we had this huge homecoming where they had like 20 people on this really famous street called O'Connell Street in Dublin. And 25 people. We got on stage. I was giving up my all on the microphone, while also trying not to faint because I was ill. But it was great, and I was taking all fans, taking all the selfies. And then last night, my local town has like 2,000 people on it, and I went down to the local church hall, and we did a whole like question and answers out. Well, we actually had to do it outside because so many people turned up, and then we took photos for about 3 hours, and it was great. And now I'm now sitting at home, and that's it now. And people keep turning up to my house. I don't know how they find the address. And posting stuff for our letterboxes. I came back when there's about 50 letters, just no address, just Ireland's Olympic champion. That's what they write on the letters, and it just somehow turns up at my house. But yeah, so it was pretty cool.
That's why. No address, just Ireland's Olympic champion. I love that. That's wild. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's been a pretty memorable week, which is cool. One thing I wanted to ask you about is I think you went to, it's like the Walk of Champions.
Oh yeah.
In Paris. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I saw pictures from it, but I guess it was just a place where you got to celebrate and people cheered.
Yeah, so I did. You get to choose when you do your Walk of Champions. So the Walk of Champions, basically, it's like a stadium beside the Eiffel Tower, and there's about 15,000 people that can be in it. So it's basically like a giant catwalk, is what I describe it as. And so you choose when you do it. I did mine on the Monday when the swimming finished, so the day after the 1500 final. And all the swimmers kind of did it together. We all we said we'll do it on a Monday. So me and Mona did it on the Monday, the Irish swimmers, and then there was a couple other swimmers like the German 400 freestyle world champion, Olympic champion, sorry, Lucas Martins did it, and then a couple other swimmers did it as well. And we walked out one by one, but we all walk out as a sport. So every 10 seconds somebody goes, you call out your name, fire goes everywhere, and then you like celebrate, and then there's like people screaming your name. It's pretty cool. So yeah, and then you do this like giant catwalk about 15 meters down towards the Eiffel Tower. You stand at the end, you pose for some photos, and basically just stand on stage for about 5-10 minutes. and then they ask you some questions, and then you walk back, and then take selfies, stuff like that, and then you do interviews at the end. But it's one of the best things I've ever seen. I've never seen that at Olympics before, and I think it was a great idea. It was so good to celebrate.
That is really cool. I mean, obviously you have your podium moments, but it's nice to kind of elongate that, especially when the whole competition is over, and to really have a bunch of people going nuts in more of a casual setting and not such a formal setting as a medal ceremony.
Yeah, but yeah, it was great.
Nice. So let's talk about that open water experience. Like you said, is your first, might have been your last. Ultimately, why did you decide to participate in the 10K event?
Well, I think the opportunity obviously came about because they said pool swimmers could then qualify who qualified in the 8 or 1500 and swam at the games could then swim in the 10K race. So because they wanted to make more spots, so they make it, I guess, more entertaining. I don't really know, but so it ended up being like only like a handful, maybe four of us from the pool swimming actually decided to compete in the end. And I mean, I thought it was amazing. I always wanted to do an open water race, and I was like, why not do it at the Olympics? Probably the hardest race. Well, everybody kept telling me, so everyone's like, "Oh, we think you're gonna win" or whatever. I mean, my goal was to finish the race because I train with a couple 10K guys, and I know how hard they train, and they do quite a little bit more meters than I do. But they were telling me like it's actually like it's completely different to pool swimming. But everybody else in their minds, like even the betting websites had me at like 4th on the betting, and I was like, I don't know where they're getting their stats from. But yes, but it was amazing. I mean, the only worst part about it is we had to get up at 4 a.m., which was kind of hard because all the pool swimming was at like finishing at like 11. I was leaving swim downs from the 1500 and 800 at like 1 a.m. from the pool, and then having to flip it to then getting up really early was quite hard. But we made it happen, and I mean, my goal was just obviously I was obviously trying to go for a medal. I mean, I'm not going to go in with any race without having that intention. But as soon as I dived in, I realized that was not going to happen because I got punched straight in the face off the dive. I was warned about it before, but I mean, it was a really cool experience. The sand, I mean, to me, it was pretty clean when I dived in. We went on a little taster session 2 days before where we did a lap, me and Henrik Christensen, or the Muffin Man. We did a lap together on 2 days before, and it was really good. It's just really hard to swim back up. So I would imagine this is what I'd say. So I do 800 freestyle in the pool in 7 minutes and 38 seconds. It took me in the open water to do 800 meters in 4 minutes. Going downstream. So you were flying. You broke the 100 free, 50 free world records straight away. And then on the way back, if you weren't swimming faster than like a 112 pace in a long course pool, you weren't moving. Yeah, so it was tough. Yeah. It took you like 12, 14 minutes to get back up 800 meters and the other way. So it was quite hard, but it was an experience. And I remember getting to lap 2 and thinking, I've got another 4 laps of this, and how am I going to finish it? Because I was dead. But it was a great experience, and I've got a whole new respect for that sport now because that is hard. I don't know how they were able to finish the race, honestly, at that speed they were going. And I mean, I enjoyed it. And then obviously the side effect was getting ill, but honestly, I would do the race every day of the week and happily take 3 days of illness or 4 days of illness.
That's an interesting perspective to have. I like that a lot. So you tell me about the river itself. I mean, I hate open water because I can't see what I'm doing, and I feel like many pool swimmers I don't know if they're as afraid of open water as I am, but they might share that same like hesitancy because it's like, what's going on? So when you say where you were doing a lap, it's like down and back. So you had to swim through the current 4 times.
Yeah. 6 times. 6 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. I mean, how do you adjust to just, I mean, not seeing what's around you or really where you're going?
Yeah, I mean, this was. I mean, to be fair, I was going very dumb. That was my goal, go in dumb because I've never done a race before. So I thought then that could kind of go in my favor. But I was told that it's quite physical. That's the main thing. So I had to do.
Mm.
We had a lot of contact. I'm a contact sports athlete. Pretty cool to say.
Yeah,
But
right.
so basically, I was told that off a dive, I'm probably going to get hit in the face. That's what I was told to be ready for. And it did happen straight away. But I mean, I knew it was going to happen, so it wasn't that bad. And I also have a twin, so we fight all the time. So it really was nothing new to me. But so then we dive in, and like instantly, you cannot see, like, you can't even see your hand entering the water.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of just gave up on the whole swimming back. So obviously swim in open water, you swim on top of each other, swim behind each other to get a draft, so it's easier. Yeah, I just gave up with that kind of because I didn't want to get kicked in the face anymore. So I just swam by myself 5 meters away from everybody. So while everybody else was drafting, I was swimming at the same speed as them, just by myself. So I was doing a lot harder work, but it was a lot easier for me, and I could see what I was doing. But yeah, I mean, it's a completely different sport, which is kind of crazy because I thought 1500 would really convert to the pool from the pool, but it kind of doesn't convert at all. I mean, the only good thing is I've got a good engine, which made me allowed to finish the race. But other than that, there was no comparisons from pool swimming. Even
Yeah.
technique, it goes out the window in open water.
Right. Yeah.
You
Like how
throw
did
your
you have
arms
to
basically.
adjust? um that's great. I mean, I know it looks different, but you're used to swimming your one technique over and over and over again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um, Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So open water, you did it.
yeah.
And you have no regrets, even though you got sick from swimming in the river.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I kind of knew it was going to happen. I mean, there always was going to be E. coli in the river, and I mean, it was a very small chance, like 2% chance. We worked out that the doctors, and we had the whole protocol in place just in case. But
Mm.
I mean, I may have got really ill. I may have missed the. I mean, the only worst thing about it was that yes, I maybe didn't get to go party like I wanted to, but I didn't really care about that. It was more that I didn't get to carry the flag in the closing. But I mean, it's not like I'm done here. Like I've probably got another 2 Olympic cycles, and I'm only 23. So I said that even though I try my best to go and carry the flag, but I kept fainting every time I stood up. So I was just like, oh, it's okay. I'll just try do it in the opening in LA. That was my goal.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So fair enough. Your your open water experience is there. Do you think you might do it again somewhere that's not as I don't know, that isn't going to make you sick, or you're just kind of done with the sport because of the nature of the sport?
Yeah, I mean, well, Greg Palt told me after the race, he was like, that's probably the hardest race you'll ever do in open water. That's
Mm,
what everybody said. They said it was like
hmm.
the hardest they've ever done, and they said it's probably the worst race to start on. But he said if I swam in the sea, it'd be a lot easier, stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like it always clashes with pool swimming. It's always before, and the pool's where I'm at, and open water was just a bit of fun. And so, I mean, I'll never say never, but at the moment, I won't be doing any unless the schedule changes if it's after.
Yeah. 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 Fair enough. So let's talk about the pool. You coming into this meet. I just talked to Bobby Fink yesterday, and so he told me, like coming into this meet, his prep, he had some of the worst practices of his career just in like the training camp leading up. I'm curious how your prep was coming into the meet and where your confidence was as a result of that.
So I'd say for the whole year, I probably this could sound so weird, but I think I was out the water the most of my whole swimming career in one season was this year. I got ill quite a lot. I mean, I didn't really post about it or anything because I mean I was just trying to keep it to myself.
Yeah.
But that was all kind of at the start of the season. I would say like I had a lot of shoulder injuries at altitude camps, and I got really ill when we were in Arizona there in March, and I missed like 2 weeks of training or something like that. I mean, there's some guy was there, so he probably he could talk about the whole thing, but and then but yeah, and then after that, after the altitude camp, we came off in April, so we were there for 4 weeks in Arizona in I've forgotten the name and it's gone out of my head now. I don't know how, but in
Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, that's it.
Yeah.
And we were there 4 weeks. It was great. I love altitude. I feel like we get so much work done there, and we always have such a great team who go. Because I mean, it's just our squad from Loughborough. But and then we had a couple of changes in squads as well. Certain people joining, certain people leaving. And then as soon as we finished the altitude camp, it was like something happened. I just started doing the best sets I've ever done in my life. Like sets, like I would, if I could say, maybe I'll share some of them. Like are crazy. Like you wouldn't even I wouldn't even think I could do ever. And then they just kept going. I didn't really have a bad set. And then we went to Seti Collie. I did the Irish trials. I swam so bad there. I was just in heavy training. But my goal was to try and make my twin qualify for the Olympics. And sadly, he missed by like 0.2 or something like that in the 800.
Oh.
But it's okay. I mean, we got over it. And then I went to Seti Collie and I swam really well there. But I didn't. I came third, so I'm pretty sure it went so under the radar that I was there. Like I swam like in season, like from the time from last year was like 15 seconds quicker on the 1500, stuff like that. So I was really in good shape. And then after Seti Collie, I just started swimming terrible. And for like a week, because I was exhausted, I think, from all the training, because I didn't have any recovery weeks or anything. And then I just started again repping really good sets. And then the weirdest thing ever though that I had on the preparation till when like pre-camp for Olympics and stuff like that is that I couldn't swim short course. So we do when we flip. So we do about 2 sessions a week on pre-camp short course for a bit of speed, or like sometimes a bit of aerobic session. And honestly, like I couldn't even make like 110 base sometimes, and it was crazy. But every time I went in long course, I was pushing the fastest ever. But short course, I couldn't pass it. And I'm really good at short course. I feel like, well, I'm the world record holder in the 800 meter freestyle. So,
Right.
so I was like, oh, what is going on here? And I was just thinking about it. I was like, it's because we're in long course season. That's it. But yeah, it was crazy. But I mean, in terms of practices, I like had the best I've ever had in any season. So
Interesting.
I can give you one practice if you really want one.
I do want one.
So we made up this set. I don't know if it's ever been done before, but we're claiming it. It's called the Minute Man. Okay, so you go. So you start. It's as a Minute Man. So you start 100 off a minute. Where you gotta go sub 60. Okay.
Okay.
And then you do a 50 easy off like short turnaround. So like you get 20 seconds rest. Say. And then you do 200 sub 2 minutes, and then you get 100 easy. So what? And then it goes all the way up until 1,000. So you go 100, 200, 300, and you've got to do 1,000 at the end sub 10, set 10 minutes, all on course. And you get whatever the rep is. Half of that is what you get easy in between. So pretty crazy. I finished that, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. That was one of my favorite sets we've done.
And you were under the minute. You averaged under a minute. Yeah. So you went under 10 minutes on 1,000 long course.
I won't say how far under I went, but yeah, the end was pretty spectacular. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to try, film it and send it to me and see if you can do it too.
Yeah, and you just have to post it to Ireland's Olympic champion, and Dan will get it.
Yeah.
You don't even need his address. So some odd things happening before you get to Paris, but overall you're doing some of the best training you've ever done in your life.
Yeah.
And then obviously coming into Paris, the few days before, we were hearing, things about the buses taking a long time, about them running out of food. And I think there's going to be hiccups at every Olympics. And then once you get into the meet, everything kind of works itself out. But once you were in Paris, how was your experience before the meet actually started, especially before you swam your first race?
Yeah, well, I think we got there, how many days before? 3 days before the meet started. I'd say 3 or 4 days before the actual competition started. So we got there. I feel like I had a great time because we were in Dublin before that. Our pre-camp
Nice.
at home, which was the best thing I've ever done because I literally felt like I wasn't swimming in an Olympic Games when I swim at home. I felt like I was just swimming with my friends. And I think that's what made the difference for me. Different change in mindset. Like I'm not thinking and training that I'm going to Olympics. The only time I thought I was actually swimming at Olympics the whole season was when I actually arrived in the Olympic Village, which I thought was the best mental thing that I've done. Because if I just put it to the back of my mind, and then I can train freely and train for fun instead of training for the big goal at the end of the day. But when we arrived in Paris, I mean, it was mixed weather. It was really hot or it's raining. The village itself, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. We had no problems with. So I basically think like you could try to pay for aircon, and if you didn't pay, then you didn't get it, which is probably one of the most stupid ideas I've probably ever heard, because I feel like that makes the Olympics more pay to win.
Right.
If you're not, if all the, say, countries that don't have the budget wouldn't be able to pay for the aircon. I just don't think it's very fair. But well, we were lucky, obviously, that our island decided that they wanted to invest in the aircon, and so we had it. So it was all good for me. I mean, I didn't even use it until like after the 800 freestyle, because my room was already cold enough. They had like this cool underfloor cooling system, so it was cold enough. But the second week, it started getting really hot, so it was a bit uncomfortable. The food itself in the village was like really bad at the start. Like I just feel like there wasn't enough, and like you were like compared to Tokyo, you were queuing for like 25 minutes to get your dinner, and it was just like terrible. Like you're spending too much time in the dining hall. But it started to like get a lot easier as the meet went on. And then in terms of the actual swimming venue, amazing. I've never swum in a pool like that. I mean, everybody was complaining about the depth the whole time, about how it's a slow pool. But all I was thinking was that, I mean, it doesn't really affect me in my events if it's because we don't really create that many waves because we're not that strong. Uh, but um, but I mean, I don't think it was a slow pool. There was some crazy amount of Olympic records broken, and um, the world record on 100 freestyle. So it clearly wasn't that slow. I think it was just more of a mental thing of people saying, from being tired from all the walking and the 45 to an hour and a half minute bus journeys that had no windows open or aircon on the bus, so you were sitting like in like felt like 40 degrees. Uh, yeah, that was probably the worst part, by the way. The buses.
Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty not ideal, right? And it's funny because this is like the big meet that everyone prepares for, that everyone's trying to do their best at, but it has some of perhaps the worst conditions because everyone's in this in the village, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard to accommodate all of the so many athletes when you're in one little tiny condensed place.
Yeah. But to be fair, like our island was great. Like we already knew the situations before we even arrived, because other teams had already been there. So we were
Mm.
actually quite an advantage that we knew. So we had protocols in place to, like, for the buses, we'd have like neck fans, and we'd bring like ice with us to make sure we were cool and whatever. Or like we'd make sure we have Google Maps open when the bus is going. So the bus driver decides that they want to go the wrong way, we go up straight to the front of the bus and tell them, no, you go this way, or stuff like that. And like our team leaders are great. Like we got our national performance director John Rudd was there as team leader, and I mean, he isn't going to let anything go wrong. He's Olympic gold medalist coach for Ruta in 2012, so he knows what he's doing, and he got everything right for me. So I mean, I'm happy. But in terms of the swimming, I feel like, should we move on to the actual racing?
Let's do it. Tell me
Yeah.
about the swimming.
So I didn't race the 400 freestyle. I mean, I would never actually planned to, but we were gonna enter it anyway, just to see. Maybe I changed my mind a couple of days before, but we didn't. And I mean, it was fast. I would say. Sorry, I'll go through the events that I swim, because it makes it the real races I watch. So the 400 freestyle, I didn't. Obviously, I was watching from the sidelines, and that's when I get like the best look at my opponents, I would say, when I don't swim it, because you can see them swim heats, see them swim finals, see what shape they're in, stuff like that. Because I'd say a couple 800 freestyle guys will swim the 400 freestyle, so you kind of know. But I'd say like a lot of them don't, so they're in the same boat as me. But we got a little luck and see what they're doing. So 400 freestyle, I thought was pretty quick. 3:41 hasn't been that fast in a long time to win. Lucas Martin's obviously one of my great friends. He won it and started the European streak of winning all the male individual medals.
That's right.
But yeah, so I thought it was a good race, and it showed that quite a lot of people were in shape. And then I was up then 2 days, was it? Yeah, 2 days times for the heats of the 800 freestyle. My goal for this Olympics was that I want to have a center lane. People might think that's maybe a bit stupid, like you have to swim harder in heats, but I thought like if I can come out in lane 4 or 5 in the Olympic Games, and it would like make me swim faster. I don't know, but that's what I was thinking. So in the 800 heats, who was I on a heat with? I was in a heat with Sam Short and Elijah Winnington, 2 Aussies. And I'm quite friendly with Elijah, so the call rooms were great. We were just chatting the whole time in the 800 freestyle, so I mean it kept me not very nervous. And then so we went. I can't remember what we went in the heats. I think I went 7:41 in the heats. So I was first in, and it was great. 7:41. That's I mean it was the 7:40. What was it? It was, I don't know what it was to make it back. 7:43 maybe. But it's the fastest ever like 800 freestyle to make it back in history by like a long time, by like 3 seconds or something like that. So, but I knew it was gonna be fast. It was like it was leading up to that for the whole 2 years prior to be like this crazy event at the Olympics. And obviously finished the heats. I don't take any caffeine or anything for the heats, so I just fully went in like just as ready. But I mean, the adrenaline takes you out when you walk out in 20,000 people. And I was, and then I got touched the wall first in my heat, and I think I was the last heat, so I already knew what they went in the heat before. So I knew that I qualified in first, and then I went for all the media, which takes ages. Like that media, whatever it's called, the media zone.
The mix zone.
The mix zone, that's it. Takes like 30 minutes to go through.
For prelims?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they do mix zone after prelims.
Yeah, they do it for everything. So it was crazy. I mean, I'll get onto the final later, but 30 minutes and then I get into the swim down or whatever. And then basically, I normally try to swim twice a day for the whole Olympics, but with the buses being 45 minutes, an hour and a half, you don't really know. It just wasn't going to be possible. So I just decided that I'd do more swim down after my race and then not swim down in the evening, just to chill out at the village and not really have to get exhausted going on buses or anything, which I think was a great, like me and my coach Andy really thought about this really well, and we thought that was a great idea. And then we woke up, we did a wake up swim in the comp pool the next day of the 800 final day. So in the morning we do like get in, but I didn't go to the comp pool. I went to the training pool, the open water venue training pool, where the triathlon and open water swimmers train, because obviously I'm a open water swimmer, so I was able to get in, which was great. And that was a cool pool. It was the 1924 Olympic pool for like heptathlon or something like that. So
wow.
Yeah, so I mean it was pretty cool to swim there. And I went there with our national performance director, and like I don't do much in my wake up swims. I'll do like 800 to 1,000 meters just to get feel. But what I do is I'll do like a time swim. So we'll do like a bit of a warm up, just like easy swimming, 200s, whatever. And then I'll do 100 where I'll guess the time. So I'll go swim at a pace, I think, say I swim at 102 pace. And I say, oh, I think that was 102. And then John will tell me, no, it was actually 101.2. That's what happened. So now it's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for this final. And then I go back and then I tried a nap. I think I slept like 30 minutes because it was just like, I was just ready. And then we got to the finals and we got on the bus. I tried to get there. So normally I probably arrive to the pool like pretty much on time to start my warm up, but because of the buses being so irregular of when they were going to turn up, we then got there at I got there like way before, like 45 minutes before I normally would, just in case the bus decided to go the wrong way. And then I was ready. So but the pool was really cold, which was kind of good. So I should have mentioned that before. But like, so normally that swimming pool is really hot. It's really hard to be there because it's just boiling. But this pool had really great aircon. Obviously, it was in the rugby stadium, so I think maybe that was why. But it was really cold, so you could put as many layers on as you want, and it was great. And same with the call rooms. There was a lot of aircon in the call room, so it was a lot easier. And then, we arrived at the pool, did the warm up, feeling great. I feel like there was quite a lot of eyes on me for the 800 freestyle. I know that SwimSwam may not have ranked me number 1 to win it, but that's okay.
Did we not?
No. They I think they ranked me to medal. I don't know. They definitely ranked me to medal, but not to win. and
Okay.
I was just like, well, more inspiration to win. But we also, sorry, I completely should have mentioned Mona winning bronze medal in the 100 breaststroke the night before. So she won on the day of the 800 heats on the 100 breaststroke women's final. She won bronze. So it was Ireland's first medal since 1996. And that was crazy. I mean, I didn't get to watch it because I was back in the village, but I watched it online with all the Irish athletes from other sports. So we were going crazy. It was great. And then she kind of started the wave, which just kept going for Irish sport, but especially Irish swimming. And then the next day I was up, so I'll just take you through the coring, very easy. Just I was chatting with Elijah and Bobby a bit. We're all very friendly. All the athletes in the 800 and 1500 meter freestyle, not like tense corums like you'd see in 50 events, I'm sure, or hundreds, but we all just chat and joke. And yeah, I mean, some people were very nervous, which is understandable. I was nervous, but I just try not to show it. I mean, that's just me. And then I always, what I think about in the quorum is what walkout I'm going to do for the when I walk out into the crowd. So we had the age free, we all line up, whatever, and we get our names called. I walk out, I do the nice writing my name in the history books before I walk out. Because I think the Olympics is definitely like the most mentally, like, it's the most mentally challenging race you'll ever do. Like, it's definitely like you could train bad the whole year, and then if you're really mentally strong, you could turn up and win because everybody else could be really mentally weak or something like that, or like not be suffering on that day from the crowd. I don't want to say mentally weak because that sounds really bad, but like they're just not on it on the day. And so when you walk out, I was like, if I convince myself 100% that I know I'm gonna win this, and nothing will stop me. So then I did my walkout. I wrote my name in the history books before we walked out, and then I hear my brother Nathan, my twin. I was like, I hear him shout, "Let's go, Daniel! You've got this!" in the crowd. And I was like, "We've won!" That's the only voice I heard from 20,000 people. I was like, "This is just meant to be." And like, I'm not gonna lie, like I have pre-race rituals where I do like 3 arm strokes in the air and stuff like that. I just went completely out the window because I was just so focused that I completely forgot to do everything. So I was just ready. And then, I mean, everybody knows how the race unfolded. Started off with Elijah going out really fast. I was just in the middle lanes. Greg was beside me, and then Bobby was on the other side of Greg, and Elijah was over on the other side of the pole. And he went out really fast, same race chassis normally does. So we all knew it was going to happen. And then I started pushing from about 300 in. So we caught Elijah 300 in, and I started pushing the pace. And then I started holding the pace, and then Greg and Bobby was still there. We were all still pretty much on the line. And then Greg started really hammering down the pace. I want to say with like 200 left, because I think he knew, like, obviously his strong point is to hold really fast pace, not to back end 50. And like, I'm gonna lie, like I know, but everybody knew Bobby's race chassis was last 50. He's like the king. I mean, you don't want to get finked, is the saying. And I knew the race chassis, so I've been training the whole year to have a fast last 50, and I've been like making sure that I can like have different ways to do it. So like if my legs are burnt out, I can go crazy stroke rate, which is what was seen in the last 15 meters of the 800 freestyle. But so anyway, so we get to and then Greg starts pushing the pace, and I'm able to go with Greg, and I feel like Bobby wasn't that able, but he was still in the race. He was on Greg's feet, where me and Greg were level, kind of. And then going into the last 50, I was with Greg. I saw where Bobby was, and I was like, okay, I just need to hammer this last 50. And I think Bobby was catching me until like the last 25, but he was still like a body length behind. And then I just put my head down and rated 55 the last 20 meters. And then I was I don't know what, I think America do different stroke rates as in the UK or Europe, but 55 is what my rate would be. I don't know what that would be in the American system, but so then I rated and I touched my wall, and I already knew I won by the because I saw when I touched, but when you see the light up with one panel on the block, and you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. And I got on the lane rope, and I recently watched before the race. I watched the Gladiator with Russell Crowe. And when he goes like, I don't know if you can see me, but he puts his arms up in the air. There's a photo, I'm sure. And it goes, "Are you not entertained?" And I did that, and then I did the phone celebration because I kind of lost my head of what to do. So I just did that, and then I put the phone down, and then that was it. And then everybody went crazy, and it was like the best day in Irish history.
Bookmark it, the best day in Irish history. I mean, it's so cool to hear that perspective. And I mean, again, congratulations, Dan. That, what an accomplishment. How did that sit with you just in the next hour? I mean, did it sink in then? Has it even sunk in now?
It's definitely sunk in now. I'd say I'll get onto it later, but it definitely affected my 1500, which was kind of a bit sad. But yeah, I mean, after the race, it took me 90 minutes to get through the mixer. So I didn't swim down, and the race was about 9 o'clock, I think. So I finished the race, and then I went for the mixer. It took me 90 minutes with interviews, and then we had to do a press conference, which was like the weirdest thing I've ever done. You do a press conference after the race with the medalists, but then I don't know what it's like in the other press conference, but they were asking us to tell us what we like about each other, which was kind of a bit weird for me. But I mean, I obviously look up to Greg for a long time, and like Bobby's obviously the reigning Olympic champion, and I mean, he's one of the greatest ever. So it was kind of like cool that we were talking about how much like what we admire about each other, but also weird. And they talk about the race or whatever. But yeah, it was a weird experience. And then I finally started swimming down, and they actually tried to close the pool on us at like 12 o'clock because they were like, "Oh, when the lifeguards aren't staying because they want to go home," and I was just like, "No, we're swimming down." Uh, so I feel sorry for the lifeguards because they had to stay a bit longer, but we convinced them. Well, we didn't really convince them; we just dove in and they had to stay. So I got my swim down done, and then I probably got back to the village about 2 a.m. Probably fell asleep about 3 a.m. So it was quite a late night, and then the next day, obviously, I had to do so much media, which was probably the worst thing I've ever done. I kind of wish I left it until after all the racing, but everybody was like, "You need to save this moment. You see all the media now." Which in hindsight, I feel like going into the games, I didn't think I was going to win the 800 freestyle. I thought I definitely was going to medal in it, but 100% sure I wasn't going to win because it was just such a tight race where everybody's PBs being so close. And then, so to me, it wasn't. Well, I mean, I before the race, I knew I was going to win because I convinced myself. But like before the whole build up and everything, I was thinking, if we medal in the 8 and win the 15, it's good. But
Yeah.
it seemed to have flipped itself completely of what I wanted to happen. But anyway, so
What
then
did
we moved. What did you say?
what did
Sorry.
that media day look like for you?
Well, as soon as I didn't swim in the morning, because it was obviously like got up so late. I tried to sleep in. I mean, I didn't really sleep in because swimmers don't sleep in. We wake
Right.
up at 7 a.m.
Right.
But it was like we just did a lot of like media interviews and stuff like that. It wasn't like too big of a media day, but I feel like it just took over out of me because all I was thinking about was the 800 freestyle when I really should have moved on and really put that behind me. I know it's crazy saying Olympic gold medalist wants to put the race of his life under the bed sheets basically, but I kind of needed to do that to try and do the double. But we got into the 1500 and I did the 1500 heats, and I've never felt that good in a race in my life. I went 14:40, which I'm pretty sure I can say is the fastest heat swim in history, uh, which is and it was my fourth fastest ever 1500 at the time, and it felt so easy. Like I shut down after 1,000 meters, and I was joking with the coaches before. I was like, I know I read Katie Ledecky's book before going into the Olympics, and I was saying that, oh, she loves to break the world record in heats, and I was just like, why don't I try to break the world record in heats? But we were joking around, but I was like, Andy will kill me if I break the world record in heats. I did. So I slowed down, obviously, to save energy for the final, and I went 14:40. I touched the wall. I was like, damn, I thought I was going like 14:45, and I went 5 seconds quicker than that. I was like, we're going to be great tomorrow night. And then I was like ready. I think a lot of people. I read all the comments, by the way. So if you ever wonder if we actually read them, I read every single comment. And I was reading people saying that, oh, he's gone too hard. He's not going to be able to do it again. And I was thinking like, no, I can do this. I can do this. But I think I was just so emotionally worked out after the heats and then after the 800 freestyle that by the time it got round to the next day for the final, I just like didn't feel great, and it didn't help that I didn't do the correct thing at the start of the race. So obviously in the 800 freestyle final, Bobby, well, everybody said he went out fast, okay, but he actually went out slower than I did in the heats of the 1500 freestyle. So to me, he didn't go out. He went out fast for Bobby, I'd say, but for me, he didn't go out that fast. I just decided to go out like a snail, which was not very good. And Greg was kind of blocking Bobby from the lane. So I guess what happened to Bobby in the 800 freestyle happened to me in the 1500 freestyle. So when I was looking over, I couldn't see, and at 300 meters in, I see this leg kick, and I'm like, oh damn, he's got 2 body lengths on me already. I was like, this is gonna be a very painful race. But I think I realized I was splitting like 28 highs, like which is like crazy to do in distance swimming. Like nobody ever really does that. And I was splitting it for 500 meters in the middle. And by the time I was catching them, I must have got to their feet, and I just felt exhausted. But all what was replaying into my head was that I'm not going to come fourth like Fukuoka. So I was just like looking where everybody else was. I was like, okay, I don't mind coming on the podium at Olympic Games. Like if somebody told me that before the race, I would be over the moon. So I was just trying to like make sure nobody was going to catch me because I knew that they were just too far away that day. And obviously, it was amazing to see that Bobby broke the world record. I mean, everybody wanted that world record to go. And I mean, it's kind of good now because the world record line is now a bit doable because last time it was like coming back in 53. And I think Bobby came back
Right.
in 55. So it makes it, if you're on the line now, it's kind of like doable where you'd have to be 3 seconds under 1400. So, but yeah, I mean, that was a great thing to see. I mean, I was obviously disappointed coming third, which is it is crazy to say. But I mean, I still got the Olympic bronze medal, and I got to be on the podium again with the two greats of the sport, and that was great. And I was so happy for Bobby to break that world record. And we were chatting after, and then we'd do that press conference again and everything. But I didn't swim down after the 1500 because I was just like, nah, we're done. We've got our 2 medals. I'm a 2-time Olympic medalist, and we never had that. We never had Olympic medalists in swimming for men's side anyway in swimming, and I mean, we never really had a gold medalist anyway. It's maybe a bit of a controversial one, but but and then so obviously coming away with 2 medals was like crazy, and everybody back home was going over them like so happy with it, and it was great. I've got an idea. I'm gonna share it on Instagram, but I got Bobby's and Greg's hat, and I'm gonna frame them together. I'm gonna get the photos of us in a race on the podium together. I'm gonna frame it and put it on my wall in my family home to always remember. And it was great. And the Olympic medals are sick. And Michael Phelps, I think, said they're the nicest medals he's seen. I don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty sure he said that. And then, so I mean, they were cool, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't think we saw the scandal about the bronzes. They're pretty like they just seem to rust or whatever happens, but they are sorting it out, and you do get them replaced, so it is good. And then obviously the gold's the best.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's good. So thank you for debunking these a lot of rumors and stories. It kind of sucks about the bronzes, but if they are getting replaced, then it seems fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so yeah, again, I talked to Bobby yesterday, and he took me through his perspective on the mile, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't think I was going out that fast. I just at the 300, I was like, oh well, I'm ahead of everyone. What's going on here? I guess I'll just go for it." So is you said you took it out too slow. Were you just kind of not as zoned in or not as focused, or
I think so. In the 800, there's a certain way I need to swim the first 50 to get my rate into the right exact place, and I swam it the wrong way. So like I'd say so normally I don't know if this is a whole thing at the Olympics of James Gibson talking about how I can breathe whatever way I want. So in the 800 freestyle, I was only breathing to the direction of the left of the pool. So on the way down, I would breathe to my left. On the way up, I would breathe to my right. So I was only watching the race. And the 1500, I was doing the same thing, but it was the race was on the opposite side. So I was breathing to my right on the way down, on my left on the way back. But on the first 50, I kind of need to breathe to my left because it's a certain, I can get my rate higher. And I started at too low of a rate on the first 50 that when you start low rate, it's really hard to build it up because you end up creating way too much lactate. And that's exactly what happened. I breathed to my right. My rate was 32 or something like that, 33. And then it was just way too low. And then when I tried to start getting the rate up, it just wouldn't come, which was a bit annoying because on the heats, I obviously breathed to the left. And I think I was just so just maybe distracted. I don't know, but also I didn't really think about it before the race. So, I mean, we can come back stronger next time, and I was still happy that the world record was still in touch for me, and 2025.
2025. No kidding. That's yeah, I mean, what that's a lot of perspective to get. I appreciate you just being so open about everything that happened. It's great to hear your side of it, because obviously we only know what we see.
Yeah.
Was there, outside of just the swimming part of it, was there something that surprised you the most, or you will remember the most from just your experience in Paris?
I honestly it's gone so viral, but me tearing up on the podium of the when I won the 800 freestyle, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. And I remember the reason why I started crying was because I got through the first line of national anthem. I looked over and saw my whole family, and I just like broke down basically. And it was like it was kind of crazy, and I'll remember that for the rest of my life. And I still remember it now. Like it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's, my boss, Mel Stewart, when he won his a gold medal, he's like, "Yeah, I'll never remember. I tried not to cry on the podium, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because it's a moment that you deserve to feel what you're feeling."
Hmm. Yeah. 100%.
I also asked Bobby about out relays the other day.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when was the last time you were on a relay?
Actually, kind of recently. So we have our British University Championships, and it's been my dream to be on a 4x1 freestyle relay. And I was just like, to my coach Andy, I was like, we need to make this happen. And I was just like, it came after long course worlds. So after Doha, I was pretty rested after I was rested for Doha. So it was the week after. So I was like, oh, I'm in great shape. Just done a 1500 PB, double world champion. And I was like, do you know what? Let me do this 100 freestyle relay. I'm feeling myself. So then I did it, and we actually got DQ'd, which is kind of
Oh.
sad. It was, I don't want to say it was my fault or the coach's dude's fault, but we went in the wrong order of what we put down for the relay, and it was me who went in the wrong order. They tried to put me first, and I thought I was going third. So, but I split like 50 point. So for 100 free long course, so it's all right. And but yeah, that was the last time I was on a relay. So it was in February.
Do you wish there were more relay opportunities for distance swimmers at the
Uh,
Olympics or World Championships?
well, they do a World Championships. They do a 4x1500 in the open water.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, I'll never do that. But I mean, there's opportunity there. But no, I'm okay. I don't like relays. I think our schedule's tough enough.
That's fair enough. Yeah. One thing I was reading up before this interview, I did not you and your twin were in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, this has gone so viral. Honestly, like actually after the press conference was questions all about Game of Thrones and not about the race as well. So, but yeah, we were in season 3, the Red Wedding episode. Me and my twin were like sitting on the step in the Frey castle, and
Hmm.
yeah, so we're Freys. I don't know if you want to be a Frey, but we are Freys.
That's fair. I don't know if you want to be afraid. In the Red Wedding of all episodes, I mean, that's a good one to be in.
Yeah.
Holy cow! How did that come to be?
So my mum used to own this twins and multiple births charity where they look after multiple births, like triplets, twins, whatever. And
Hmm.
I'll just go over it quickly. So child actors can only work a certain amount of hours per day, so they use twins so they can get double the amount of hours, so they don't have to, they can film for longer. So then they came to my mum's charity and they were like, "Oh, can we look for some twins?" And they looked through. My mum sent us some photos of some twins, so they wanted to do it. They like the look of me and Nathan. Apparently, we got that Frey look. Don't know if you want to be that because that house is definitely not the house you want to be part of. And then we did auditions, whatever, and then we did. That's how we got into the scene.
Wow. Yeah. But I mean, that is really cool though, that
Yeah,
you were able to be a part of that cinematic history.
there's also in it as well. So
Who?
my sister is also. She's one of the Frey daughters in it. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So we got a
Man,
family of Thrones,
no kidding.
family of
That's
Frey.
Do you think you'll pursue acting at all after you're done swimming?
I get asked that question so many times. To be fair, like I mean, it doesn't. I've been asked to be in so many other things, but swimming kind of clashes with it. I mean, like me and Nathan are like kind of like twins, and we look really alike, and it's really hard for like older twins when we still look the same. But I mean, sorry, actually, just to spin off on that, it was kind of great having Nathan at the Olympics because he took all the selfies for me that I didn't have to take. So it was great. But back on the Game of Thrones thing, I have heard some rumors that they have been in contact for House of Dragon, maybe to my sister, so maybe the Olympic Games have maybe boosted it. And if we're out there, Sky, it's on Sky Atlantic, I think, yeah, in the UK. I would love to be in House of Dragon, so sign me up.
Boom. All right. Hopefully we'll see Dan Whippen on House of Dragon. That'd be awesome. Well, cool. I mean, Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and debrief your experience. What's next for you? What do the next few months look like?
Holidays. I'm playing a lot of golf right now. I just recently took it up because every swimmer seems to play it, so I was like, I'll try it. And it helps that my training partner was also like in the NCAA's for golf before he turned swimming, so he's a great teacher.
That's right.
Yeah. And then I'm going on holiday with Lucas, the training partner I was just talking about, the Belgian 40 freestyler. And then back to Loughborough, October, train up until Short Course Worlds. And then I'll be doing that. And then that'll be me ready for the whole season from August.
Nice. So you will do Short Course Worlds?
100%. Yeah, I like short course, so we'll do it.
That's right. Except when you can't train it.
Yeah. I think I'll hopefully come back by then.
Well, all right. Well, Dan, again, thanks so much for taking the time. It's always great talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.